Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Sports Central, a new YouTube channel dedicated to all things daily fantasy sports and Fantasy Premier League. Today's video is going to be on DFS baseball for today, July 3rd, so let's get right into it. There are going to be three types of players I talk about on this video. The first type is the top tier. These are players that I'm going to try to do everything I can to get them into my lineup. Second type is value. These are players that I think will greatly outperform their cost. Generally, these tend to be cheaper players because it's easier to find value that way. But if it's a medium to expensive player that I still think will greatly outperform their cost, then I'll include them in this category. And the last one is staying away, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's just players that for one reason or another I won't be touching. So we're going to start off with the top tier. And one of the picks I like most for today is Carlos Santana. Santana is a lifetime 13 for 30 against Royals starting pitcher Duffy. He's also seeing under 4 pitches per plate appearance against Duffy, which is well under his career mark of 4.2, which combined with his good numbers against Duffy tells me that he reads the pitcher well and doesn't really need to wait for his pitch in order to make something happen. He's seen the ball well, so he's swinging earlier in counts. And combined, like I said, with his good historic numbers against Duffy, that makes me think he really picks up on the pitch as well and is able to barrel them up. Additionally, over the past 2 seasons, Santana's K percentage is over 5 points lower against left-handed pitchers, with his weighted OBA and his OPS being 16 points and 33 points higher respectively. So he fares a little better against left-handed pitcher, which is just a slight boost for tonight. Second player I'm going to talk about in my top tier is Nolan Arenado. Arenado is going to be heavily picked tonight, in my opinion, and if you don't take him, you're taking a pretty big risk. If he bombs and you didn't take him, you'll be at a huge advantage in most leagues because I think he's going to have a very high selection percentage tonight, but I highly doubt that'll happen. Everything points to Arenado having a huge night tonight. Arenado's hitting .385 against Astros starter Wade Miley. However, that is only in 18 plate appearances, so it's not a huge sample size. But here are some bigger sample size numbers that I can give you. 118 points, 139 points, and 315 points. Those are the differences in Arenado's weighted OBA, isolated power, and OPS between lefties and righties. Arenado loves himself a southpaw. Not to mention the game is at Coors Field, which is a points boost all by itself. And spoiler, his home-away splits greatly favor Coors Field as well. Who would have guessed? So definitely love Arenado tonight. He's going to be the first player I jam in my team. And the last one in my top tier for tonight is Michael Brantley. There isn't any batter versus pitcher history to go off of numbers-wise, as Brantley has yet to face Rocky starter Peter Lambert, but that doesn't really matter to me. Coors Field is the toughest park in the majors for pitchers, but even considering that, Lambert has struggled mightily. Lambert has allowed a .368 batting average against and a .403 OBP against at home this season, as well as giving up 6 home runs and 11 extra base hits total in just 62 plate appearances. Lambert also throws a first pitch strike just 59% of the time, which plays into the wheelhouse of Brantley, who is hitting a staggering .357 with a .456 OBP after getting ahead 1-0 in the count this year. Lastly, if you need more convincing, Brantley has hit right-handed pitchers very well over the past 2 seasons. .377 versus .327 weighted OBA, .189 versus .101 ISO, and .867 versus .743 OPS. Those are all his righty-lefty splits, with the righty splits being the higher ones, of course. So that's going to move us on to our value category. My first one in the value category is going to be Lorenzo Cain. Cain may be struggling this year, but I like him for tonight as a bit of a punt. He has a good small sample size numbers against Gray. He's 7 for 12 and has 3 stolen bases. And Great American Ballpark ranks 2nd in run rating and 7th in home run rating, meaning it's a complete hitter's ballpark. The next value pick is going to be Yasiel Puig. Staying in the same game, I like Puig even more. He has good numbers against Brewers starter Chacin. He's 11 for 29 with a couple of home runs. And again, Great American Ballpark is one of the most advantageous ballparks for hitters. Additionally, Puig is one of those rare righties who hits righties better than lefties. Over the last 2 seasons against right-handed pitchers, his weighted OBA is 66 points higher, his ISO is 69 points higher, and his OPS is 161 points higher than against lefties. Add in the fact that he's averaged almost 25 points per game in the past 2 weeks against the Brewers over 5 games, with his lowest score being an 18.7, and I really like Puig tonight. 2 players that I'm going to be staying away from tonight. The first one is pitcher Mike Clevinger. Since returning from injury, Clevinger just doesn't look quite right. This might be the night he gets back to the way he started the season, but at $9,000 on FanDuel and the third most expensive starting pitcher, I'm not taking that risk. Also, because of the cost of starting pitchers, I want guys that I can be pretty confident in going deep into the game. And so far in his career, Clevinger only averages 5.6 innings pitched per game. If your pitcher exits early or has a rough night, you can kiss your prize chances all but goodbye. So while this may be the night Clevinger returns to form, I don't think it's anywhere near worth the risk to find out. The second player I'm going to be staying away from tonight is Mike Moustakas. At only $3,700 on FanDuel, it might seem weird to list Moustakas as a staying away player, but I've seen his name tossed around a little bit today as a potential value pick, so I'm going to include him. There are a few reasons I really don't like him. The first is that he has terrible numbers against Gray. He's 4 for 22 lifetime. The second is he has terrible career numbers in July. Now, you might think there's nothing to this, but they're drastically different. Mike is hitting 225 in his career in July compared to 268 in June and 265 in August. When you're talking about a career as long as his, those numbers matter. Maybe he doesn't like the heat. Who knows what it is, but either way, that's a big drop. The third reason is that the projected lineups I've seen have him batting third tonight. They have him batting third tonight. So far this season, Moustakas is batting 233 with a 260 OBP when hitting in the 3-hole. Compare that with 308 while hitting second and 250 while batting fifth, and it's enough to tell me he doesn't really like the 3 spot in the order. Pitchers absolutely pitch differently to different spots in the order, and something about the 3rd spot in the lineup doesn't sit well with Mike. For a larger sample size, he's also hitting 243 career in the 3 spot compared to 262 hitting second, 269 hitting fifth, and 271 batting 6th. So all those numbers put together are a reason that I'm going to be steering clear of Moustakas tonight. So those are the players I'm looking at tonight, and here is my finished lineup. I have Sean Anderson pitching, Carlos Santana, Colton Wong, Nolan Arenado, Brandon Crawford, Lorenzo Cain, Yasiel Puig, Michael Brantley, and Trevor Story. And as you can see, I used every last dollar available to me on FanDuel. So that's the lineup I'm going to run with tonight. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Go ahead and throw in the comments, some players that you like or don't like tonight. We can see, who got the better of it. But thanks for listening, and I will be back tomorrow with another baseball video.